Hello and welcome to the Retro Perspective. I'm Jake.
And I'm Aaron. And today we're going to be discussing great games, but not just great games. Great games with shite endings.
There was a period in the PS3 era
Yes.
where a lot of games were doing these endings where it was kind of like a choice.
Yeah, multiple choice.
Yeah, multiple
I felt
choice
that became
endings.
a big thing. Still
and-
is.
Yeah, to an extent. I think they've toned it down a bit now.
Yeah,
though.
thankfully.
But two of the games we're going to discuss now are those kinds of games where there is basically a choice. The first one, you make the choice throughout the game, really.
Yeah, you don't know you're making it, but you're making it throughout the game. The first game we're going to discuss on the great games but bad endings list is Bioshock. What did we like about Bioshock, Jake? Would you say it's a great game?
Yeah, I'd say it's a good game. I really liked the horror aspects of the original
Yes,
Bioshock.
absolutely.
Actually.
Genuinely scary, very intense
Yeah,
to begin with.
especially at the beginning of the game. Towards the end of the game, it kind of got a little bit sketchy with like bullet sponge enemies, things like that. Playing it on hard mode is a complete ball ache, I'll tell you that.
Is it just like a lot of just pegging
A lot
the
of
fuck
just
out of shit?
like running out of ammo and just being like, shit, this enemy is only down to like half health and I've literally pumped about 200 bullets into him.
But apart from that, the atmosphere in Bioshock is phenomenal. Like really, really creepy.
Yeah.
The storyline's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really, really loved what they did with it. Like
Yeah.
I thought it was a really, really enjoyable first-person shooter.
So when you originally told me you wanted to include this game on the list, I
Yeah.
thought, hold on a sec, wasn't the ending really great because there was that amazing twist?
Yes, there is a phenomenal twist in Bioshock. Yeah.
And I actually thought that was the ending, but I
No,
was
the
wrong.
game continues. So Bioshock has the incredible twist whereby the character who's been leading your character throughout the whole game and directing you has actually... What had actually happened was you were, in fact, a creation of this man, and the idea that he kept saying, "Would you kindly," and that you kept just obviously following the directions of the character directing you through it, does a fun play on the trope in games whereby a character is giving you instructions by having it be as if he'd hypnotised you to automatically follow those instructions on that trigger word, leading you to kill the person running Bioshock.
Yeah.
That's not what Bioshock.
Running
The town isn't called Bioshock. Is it?
Rapture.
But that is a really, really good twist, and it
Yeah.
plays purely on how video games work.
Yeah.
Which I think are always the best twists in those are the best twists in video games, where it could only happen in a video game. If you made a Bioshock film, which there's always talk of, and I wish never happens, like that twist just would be shit, wouldn't it?
I think it'd have happened by now.
Yeah, I would like to think so, but that twist just wouldn't work at all, would it? Like, it wouldn't make any sense. Because you can't have a silent protagonist in like a movie, so it just wouldn't work in anywhere. So the multiple choice is based on decisions that no real person would take. Instead, it's just like you're either murdering little girls or you are saving little girls. Like, who is going around murdering little girls?
There is a very small little line at the beginning of the game which someone basically says, maybe you will have to murder them to get Adam to be able to survive.
Yeah.
But it's not made specifically
Definitely,
clear
and there's never
that
a point.
you need them
There's
to
literally
survive.
never a point where it becomes very difficult to save them.
Yeah.
So the game has 3 endings, sort of, but not really. So the game has the good ending, where if you've been saving little sisters, because you're not a mental bastard, you've been saving little girls, they tried to offer you Rapture because they're like scared of you, but you've killed the bad guy. And then what happens is you sort of free them. You like say, nah, you know what, Rapture's absolutely wank, let's leave. You save the little sisters, they all go and live normal lives. You gave them a chance at happiness. One of them got a diploma. One of them, got married, found a nice rich boyfriend. He's looked after her, and then he dies. And it's also like set in this future with this voiceover, like, "And what did you do? Everything was great." And then he's dying, and all his hands touch him, and it's like, wow, what a life he lived. He gave life to them, and they showed him love.
What I really can't stand about game endings like this is just really short CGI cutscenes at the end.
It's so
and
bad.
with a voiceover, and that is just like...
That's all you get. It's just like a little CGI thing, and it's just like... And that was the game. Well played. That was Bioshock. Well done, everyone.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like... I expected more from it, really. It was like a huge storyline. There was so much put into the story. That just have that be the ending. It's like, meh. There's also the bad ending, where if you've been killing them all the time, because you're like a mad bastard, you like take over Rapture, and then the Rapture's not enough. You're gonna go and you're gonna take over, and you find this naval submarine eventually goes past, and you fucking send your splicers after it, kill them all, take this nuclear warhead, and you're like, I'm gonna take over the whole world. And then there's the sort of also a third ending where if you've killed a few, if you've saved a few, you still get you're still an absolute massive dickhead at the end of it who takes over the whole world. Except the voiceover is slightly just like, it's really sad that you're such a dickhead.
Yeah.
Oh, it's what I've expected. It's
so
like,
if you've... I'm assuming that it means if you've killed one little sister throughout the entire game and saved the rest...
I think so, yeah.
You decide...
That's exactly what was happening,
yeah. You decide, basically, that you're going to form a nuclear war with the entire world if you've only killed one little sister.
Just one little sister, which may have been early on when you were just like, I need to get Adam, like, you know...
And you get the exact same ending as if you killed all of them.
It's like, it's mad. And this, again, it's just another CGI thing with a voiceover. To have two endings that are basically the same, and both shit, and the voiceover is just slightly different, not even written differently, literally just voiced in a slightly different style. Like, what a fucking cop-out. It's really poor. And it's also, it doesn't fit with how you may have played the game or viewed yourself the whole time.
Yeah.
So the ending isn't reflective of what you projected into the character.
Yeah.
It isn't like, I've been playing it, I've just tried to survive. I'm just trying to survive out here. Like, I might have killed him, but I'm trying to save him as well. Like, I'm not some heartless bastard, but I had to do what I had to do, maybe. That ending doesn't reflect that in any way. And also, even the evil one sort of like, it doesn't ever feel like you're trying to take it over. Like, it just feels like that.
Feels that way.
It never feels that way.
It would have worked better if they'd have had a voiced protagonist if they wanted to do an ending like this.
Yeah, exactly. Where,
rather
like,
than having a silent protagonist.
The more you kill, if you kill the little sisters, nothing really changes throughout the game. No one responds to you differently or really like. There isn't really a lot of characters you're constantly interacting with. The bad part of it, like, it only happens in the ending, and it just feels like really out of place. And like, why would you be? It just doesn't fit with the rest of the game in my mind. So it's a really great game, but with a very bad ending, or 2 or 3.
So while Bioshock has a very black and white sort of choice throughout the entire game, now we're going to talk about a game that literally gives you a black and white choice in the final 5 seconds of the game.
Yeah, right at the end.
And that impacts the entire ending.
This is Deus Ex: Human Revolution.
Hello, Adam. Welcome to the Edge. It is not the end of the world, but you can see it from here.
So as a game, and more specifically as a stealth game, I think Human Revolution is exactly how Metal Gear Solid 4 should have been, really.
Yeah, basically,
Freedom of choice in your stealth. The entire game is basically completely based on freedom of choice and player movement, weaving in and out of these, indoor areas. It's definitely one of my favourite games on the PS3.
I thought it was brilliant. I think the RPG elements are possibly the most well realised on the PS3. Like, every choice you make has upsides and downsides. Every you can't boost everything.
Yeah.
Like, and there are several different paths to go down. So like, if you're leveling one thing up, it sort of, you can focus on it, or you can try and go for things in other areas, and I think it works really well. That's all really well established in terms of the story, in terms of how you get the powers. So it's not just bullshit. You go into some sort of, essentially the merchant in Resident Evil 4 is bullshit, but like, it's just sort of really well done. How like it ties into the game. It feels normal.
So with the dialogue system as well, which is quite in depth sometimes.
Really, really good.
The amount of scope they had to craft several different endings and have them all be different, and all feel like you've had an impact throughout the game, was massive.
Yeah, you're right. I think there's also some really good moments in the game where you can make decisions Like you might just do something. For example, I think there's a great moment in the game, Hideo Kojima-esque in fact, where you go to there's a thing where you can go to the hospital and you're having like this new implant.
Yeah.
And the game is telling you to do it. It's like an objective to go and do. And then if you have this done, when you fight a boss later on, you can't use your thingy anymore.
Yeah,
like,
you can't see what health you've got.
Yeah.
The screen's all blurry.
And it's specifically like because you got that thing where it's like they've actually hacked you and they're fucking you up.
Yeah.
And it makes the fight harder.
Yeah.
And like obviously at that point you've saved. There's no going back. There's no like I'll just go and redo that bit because it's like quite a bit before it. Like it's not immediately before. It's just like a little thing where you're just going and trying to complete the objectives. I did it when I played it, and I love when you make the mistake and like. That's great. The game punished you for doing something that you didn't even think was wrong. Like, and I think that's just great.
Yeah.
So yeah, with that much stuff, like they already did stuff where actions you do affect how the game plays out. So for it to have that much, it to be that sophisticated the whole way through, and for it to then have an ending that is dependent purely on what button you press at a computer station, essentially.
Yeah.
Is fucking dreadful.
It's the same again as in Bioshock, where you literally, once you push that button, it's just like CGI cutscene and the cutscene.
And the voiceover, and then just
and his voiceover.
And the cutscene.
The cutscene itself isn't even like, it's just stock footage.
Yeah, it's
like
not about anything.
Footage.
It's not anything to do with Deus Ex, and it's just sort of like he's just rambling on about different sides of humanity and things like that.
Yeah.
Very much like our honourable mention, Metal Gear Solid 2. It's an ending where. It's just sort of, it isn't really anything to do with the game massively. Also, no matter which one you press, even though they should all be radically different, aren't really that different. No. The voiceovers are all quite similar.
Yeah. It's almost like they had like a set part of the dialogue or monologue, and then it's like, okay, say this one sentence, and then the one sentence is like, I just couldn't do it. I did this instead. And it's like, and then the other one is like, I decided to do it. Yeah. And it's like, that's the part that changes, and all the rest is just exactly the same.
Like, it's so bad. It's so bad. And for the game to have been that fantastic all the way through, to have such a poor series of endings. Also, I remember I played it on the PlayStation 3, and there was the trophy system, and there was a trophy for seeing all the endings. Like you've seen, so I'm thinking, it's gonna have multiple playthroughs. You can do this. If you save the game in the last scene, but just before you go into the room, you can literally press each button and just keep loading it back up and see them all, and then they get the trophy, and you get the trophy, and it's sort of like, what? That's so shit. Like, but thank fuck, because if I'd played the game through 5 times to get those were my endings. Fuck me, that'd just piss me right off.
Each time you were so excited about
seeing, like, can't wait.
Seeing a better ending.
I'm gonna side with these guys this time. I wonder what he does this time. It's gonna be completely different. It's exactly the same each time, and I've been gutted. Like, what the fuck? It's just as I kept watching them, I was just realising this is just shit. This is so bad, and it also made me never want to play the game ever again. Like I had visions of myself playing it again. I'd enjoyed it that much. I was going to do a different run through. I was going to make sure I did no kills because I accidentally killed some people at the start, and that counts against you apparently. But I was going to make sure no kills this time, and I was definitely considering playing it again. But for the endings to all be that similar, all that accessible, and for the decisions made throughout the game to impact it in no way, I just think it's such a missed opportunity. Which makes it a great game.
Terrible ending.
I almost don't want to include this in the list because Fahrenheit is it's probably the best first act of a game ever. David Cage has since proven himself. I feel like Heavy Rain is Fahrenheit but done pretty well. He's done really well with that, and then
just refined the mechanics.
Like, I'm quite excited for that Detroit being human thing.
Yeah, become human.
Or whatever. It looks really cool.
What I want to talk about in Fahrenheit is how it starts off so perfectly.
Yeah.
Like literally, the game is in this one room, and it's like, shit, I've killed someone.
Perfect.
I've killed someone. I've got to hide the evidence. All the different things you can do in that one room. Then the next scene, it expands. It's over 2 rooms.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you're at his apartment, and it's like a bit of a bigger area. It's like
you got to try and hide.
You got to try and hide your clothes that are bloody and stuff. It's perfectly builds up.
It's so intense.
Right up until the point when all the furniture starts flying at you.
Yeah.
it's almost as if I could see the ending coming. Like in my mind, I was like,
"This has got to get shit. Yeah, this can't get good.
There's no possible way.
It's getting worse and worse. It must have a shocking ending. Like,
yeah, I was thinking there's no possible way this could ever end well for anyone, including me as a player. Yeah. They discover that there's aliens. And that the aliens are after something called the Indigo child. That's a little girl.
Yeah.
And throughout the course of the game, you also discover that the main character, Lucas, as a fetus, absorbs some sort of magical energy.
Yeah.
None of this has any relevance to the rest of the game, particularly.
Yeah.
And it certainly doesn't have any relevance to the ending because the good ending is basically literally like a 30-second clip.
Yeah.
And it's basically
aren't they having some sort of sunny? Aren't they having a walk in like a sunny?
But it's like a really weird, like Silent
Hill-esque. Really colourful.
It's like white all around, and then where they're actually sat is like proper oversaturated and like. There's rabbits hopping about and stuff
it's sort of like it's almost like it's like but this is like it's almost like a fake. It's almost like
it's almost fake, and it's
so
like
weird. A bit like Blue Velvet almost.
Yeah, it's quite Lynchian.
Like but not intentionally.
But that is the good ending.
That's the good ending. That's the good one. That's the one we like. The idea of Fahrenheit and the idea of the David Cage games is that you're sort of in control. So you'll go to a scene and you control sort of what happens. So depending on your actions. There are several different outcomes, so you might get caught early on. You might be, and sometimes it sort of kills you essentially. Like you lost the game.
Very few of the actions result in a game over.
Yeah,
that's kind of the point.
But it can happen.
Yeah,
your ex-girlfriend, who you're clearly romantically involved with still, she gets taken by this guy, and you go to this roller coaster park. What the fuck am I on about?
I can't even remember this.
And you go to a theme park to save her. You go to the theme park to save her, and basically, no matter what you do, she dies. And I think your character dies. And reading this, and we're reading a thing to remember it, because it's so fucking convoluted, that it gets brought back to life by some AIs. There's a character called the Oracle, and there's AIs. It's like some sort of Matrix rip-off.
I think
fuck me, it's shit.
No, I think the AIs are the alien things.
Yeah, but they're the bad guys, right?
I don't know why they're called AIs. I can't remember why.
For a game whereby all of your actions are determining what's going to happen, like, it had so much scope to just do things that are happening earlier in the game affecting everything that happens with it. Like, so much of the plot could change, and it didn't have to, like. It could have been this mental, but you could have had different characters and different people doing different things.
Yeah.
Like in Heavy Rain, characters can be out of it and sort of in it, and depending
characters
on what you did with them.
Characters can literally die by
the
end of the game. So.
And who's in the final act is sort of like up to you. You get them through it, or you don't. Whereas in this, the final act is the same. It's the same shit. Horrendous final act that is literally an abomination of storytelling. We're talking one of the worst plots ever in video games. It's absolutely abhorrently poor, and yet you have no control over it, despite that being the whole point of the game. I fucking hate Fahrenheit. Why are we talking about it? I really hate it. It was such a betrayal. It starts so well, you are right. You might as well just play the fucking demo. Get a demo and pretend that's the whole game. Yeah. It really gets so shit so quick. But it is brilliant for a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So I'm not even going to call it a good game with a shite ending. But you can. You can do that. You can do the thing.
Well, I love Fahrenheit. I think it's a very good game.
With a catastrophic ending. Okay, so if you're allowed Fahrenheit as a good game, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life, then I'm going to be allowed Red Dead Redemption.
I tried to go straight. I did. Then I got me more trouble.
So you go hunt down the Apache guy and the evil bad guy and you kill him, and everything you've sort of like, and that's like, oh, you're thinking that's like the end, and then you're riding off on your horse and there's like a cool like guitar rock song playing that's unlike anything else you've heard in the game, and it's just like dum bum 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 bum, and it's like it's cool, like, oh, the soundtrack's totally different, like this is wicked, this is a cool moment. I'm sort of riding off. The game feels very different, and it's like, it's really, really cool.
So is this as John is going back home?
This is as John Marston, yeah, you go back home. Yeah. And then sort of what happens is you think, oh, that's the end of the game. Like, you think that's the end. And then the game does like a fun little twist whereby there are more missions, and like you've got to do like family missions. And then these missions are literally, you've just played the whole game There's been like, you know, you started off doing some pretty boring shit, and then like, but you've done all the cowboy shit, and you've now been on some several high stakes, huge fucking shootouts that were fucking mad, and like, you know, you've had all this shit, and then suddenly the game's like, come on, we're gonna go ride up some cattle. Come on, Dad, do I gotta? Yeah, you gotta learn how to do it. Come on, let's go. And like, and his son, and you're thinking, oh, there's gonna be like some good chemistry and some good bonding. It's gonna be good. It's fucking shit. All of it's boring and fucking it's shit. He's like living with his family, and it's just all proper boring. Like they haven't really been in it much. His family aren't in the game loads. Yeah. Like so
he's
like,
kind of doing it for his family, but
yeah, but you don't really
they haven't
see
been built up as characters.
Exactly. So like you see them all sort of at the end, and it all just feels a bit weird. Like, and I could really see what they were trying to do, because then obviously Red Dead then has quite a cool twist whereby some bad guys show up and the main guy gets killed, and then you can, obviously it's a massive open world game, so then you can continue playing the rest of that as his son, who's like years older, and basically sort of, and then you can continue playing the rest of it as his son. Feels a bit different. It feels a bit weird, does that to me, because then you're sort of like, oh well, I don't have as much attachment to his son, so like you're not projecting yourself into the character as much as you were. You sort of like when you were John Marston, you are him, aren't you? Sort of like you're doing the shit as him, like you sort of you can become the character. Whereas then when you're playing as his son, you sort of feel a bit like it feels a bit weird. I didn't really enjoy it.
The character model itself doesn't look as cool
it's not as
John
good.
Marston's
It looks a bit
character
shit.
model.
Exactly. Like there's just it just feels a bit like.
But you could almost say that this game has like two endings, really.
Yeah, you can. Of course.
And I do see where you're coming from with the whole idea that the final sort of few missions are the ending, really.
Yeah.
Because it's all sort of building
connected
up to the moment that John Marston dies.
Killed. And then, but even then, you still have the bit where you can go and like you avenge him. But again, that's not very satisfying.
Yeah, I wasn't satisfied.
There's no huge mission where you go and avenge him, and it's like a massive thing, and it's like a proper huge ending. It's just you find the guy down by the river, and it's just like, oh hello, and you just like, boom, shoot out, and he's just dead, and it's like a shootout. Also, the shootout system I never understood in Red Dead Redemption ever. I won, I never lost, but I didn't understand how it worked.
So Red Dead has quick draw shooting mechanic.
That's how the final fight happens.
And the final fight is literally this one quick draw thing. It lasts like 10 seconds max.
There's no big cutscene beforehand. It doesn't have like a massive chat with him or anything.
It's just like
you start saying, "You killed my father," and it's just like, "Oh, did I? Oh, come on, then, boy." And
I think he just asks him his name or something, and it's like, you know. But anyway, the point is that when I first played that, I was really unsatisfied with that because I was, you know, you've previously in the game you've played these massive shootouts and you know it's been epic stuff, and then to have it as just like a revenge story, which I personally love revenge stories, to have it just be this one mission right at the very end of the game, which lasts like maybe
seconds,
10 minutes.
It's just a shootout, and that's
it's
it.
just like bang, he's dead, and then to have that be the very end of the game. Yeah, that left me feeling very unsatisfied.
It's really unsatisfying, isn't it? It's like, and it's one of those things where I really like the twist, but it sort of comes at the point where you probably had sort of done everything, or you were in the, you know, what was left to do is stuff where like you're just like picking up like the gang stuff where you've got to get all like the you've got to collect items and shit like that.
Yeah, the outfits.
Yeah, the outfits. You're sort of doing all that sort of shit, and then sort of like to be doing all that shit as his son, it just feels like a wasted time. Why would he be doing it? Like, obviously the other character, like, obviously it's part of the game that you played up to, but why would he be doing it? Like, why would he be doing all this bullshit?
It's
that's
inherited
like,
the outfits.
Yeah, I've inherited open world bullshit. I now have to. I've inherited collecting outfits. What? I've just inherited loads of utter bullshit my dad was doing. Literally, the worst fucking jobs ever. I've just inherited collecting aimless items for no reason around this small expanse of Wild West. That's my life now. This is what I do. I think it's genuinely a bad ending that no one really talks about, because the game's quite good. It's obviously like a cool twist where he dies. I personally think what would have been best is if they'd have had the twist and then had several missions afterwards where you're avenging him.
Yeah.
Maybe had the twist come a lot earlier in the game, where he's like the main character's killed off halfway through, and you completely take over as a new character.
I would have much preferred
like
that.
it'd be a lot better, and you could have built to the revenge a bit more and stuff like.
And actually design John's son to be like a bit of a memorable character.
Not just be like literally all you remember is John. Like, and then for the rest, you could be literally playing as his son. If you were literally going to play the game loads, literally going to play that single player loads. Collect everything and do all that shit, you might be playing with him in more total playtime than John Matt, and it's like, that's mad, innit?
Yeah,
like,
he has barely any character.
And he has
whatsoever.
no character whatsoever, and the character that is established in very boring missions that are just an absolute snooze fest. I really are a snooze fest. I was playing it and I'm like, I can't be arsed with this shit. Also, how he gets killed is like cornered by like 10 guys. You'd fought more people throughout the whole game.
Yeah.
You know, and in games where like, you know, for example, like Uncharted, it'd feel very unorganic if like literally 5 guys cornered him. It's like, this is the end. Oh, I fought about 100 guys just before that and killed them all by myself. So why isn't Marston literally running behind the wall, setting up for like a huge shootout where I'm taking people out from it? Like, why did he not? You know, it just feels like you can't have a game whereby the shootouts are so huge. And then to be just faced with pretty standard odds, like, oh no, it's the end for me now. There's no way out of this one. Like,
I think the idea was that he was sacrificing himself for
his family.
However, I still don't buy it when the game mechanics don't match up with what we're seeing in the cutscenes.
Exactly. So for me, Red Dead Redemption is a great game with an unfortunate ending. Our honourable mention of the evening goes to Metal Gear Solid 2. Now, Metal Gear Solid 2, unlike Metal Gear Solid 4, isn't a piece of shit. Metal Gear Solid 2 is really, really good. And despite being the most famous cockblock in gaming history, where you are teased with playing as Solid Snake, everyone's favourite badass, very briefly in the game's opening, you in fact play the game as Ladyboy Raiden. Hideo Kojima believed he had made the most important game ever. He felt he'd made such an important game.
The human social construct.
Yeah, and so the game begins to discuss things that aren't related to the game, just about humanity, how we all live, technology, people's lives, how we all interact, and all these sort of things. Starts to discuss loads of shit. Has loads of stock footage that's nothing to do with the game. So the basic ending of Solidus being killed, and then Solid Snake telling Raiden, we're going to go after the Metal Gear, Revolver Ocelot's taking it, and sort of you're thinking, oh, that'll be the next game, them trying to hunt it down.
Yeah.
That's all sort of secondary to this big rant that I believe Ottocon's talking. I think
it's Solid Snake is saying about you need to pass on your genes.
Yeah, pass on the
like
genes and that shit, and it's just loads of shit.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just loads of bollocks.
Well, I've just kind of realised, I've just had an epiphany.
Yeah.
It's almost like Hideo Kojima is saying, at some point you're going to have to stop playing as Solid Snake and start playing as Raiden.
Well, yeah,
as a metaphorical message.
Yeah, I know.
In life.
Yeah, of course. It is like you can't always be Solid Snake. You can't cling to the past.
You can't always
cling
be
to the
Solid
past.
Snake.
You can't cling to the past. Is what Hideo Kojima is trying to say. Metal Gear Solid was a great game. Now Metal Gear Solid 2, and it's about embracing change. But as a child, I had just turned, maybe when Metal Gear Solid 2 came out, I was in year 6 at primary school. And I was fucking well disappointed. I thought, this is shit. I thought, this is so boring. Like, what? I can't believe how crap this game's turned out. But in hindsight, I do actually find the ending quite good. Like, I don't hate the ending anymore.
The reason I'm not really saying anything is I've always liked the ending.
I hated it because I was a little child.
I was the same age.
Yeah,
as
but
you,
you're a little psychotic
little
child who's like, oh man, it's like team's great. Whereas I was like, where's Solid Snake? I wanted Snake.
Well, you're talking about the very end, like
the very end. Yeah.
What do you think about the whole how it wraps up? How
the
it
Arsenal
leads
gear
on
bullshit that's absolutely mad, and like the
whole, how it leads. I've got
scissors. 61. See, there are parts of Metal Gear Solid 2's endings that are very, very well done. For example, the Kodok conversation at the end leads wonderfully into Metal Gear Solid 4. Otacon is speaking with Snake and he says, Snake, you're never gonna guess what? Snake's like, what? And then Otacon's like, the Patriots, they're all dead. And Snake's like, what? And then he's like, Yeah, they died like 100 years ago. And Snake's like, what? And it's like absolutely mental. And you're thinking the next game's going to be absolutely incredible. It's going to be mental. And it just leads beautifully into it. And then Metal Gear Solid 3 was a prequel, and Metal Gear Solid 4 was shit.
So what I'm saying is Metal Gear Solid 2 is a great game with a great ending.
And what I'm saying is Metal Gear Solid 2 is a great game with a controversial ending.
I think it's clear from the types of games we've discussed and the types of endings that it's never a good idea to shove a multiple choice question at the player.
Multiple choice question. ABC. What ending do you want?
Exactly. Yeah, well, that basically Deus Ex. That is what it feels like.
That's literally what that is.
Yeah. So it's not a good idea to do that. Please refrain from short CGI cutscenes.
Yeah, they're shit.
If you're gonna have a cutscene at the end, take a page out of Metal Gear Solid 3's book
and just go on for fucking ever. If your ending is not at least an hour long, I don't want to watch it. That's my point of view.
I do enjoy a good long ending.
I do enjoy a good long ending, but at the end, the endings don't always have to be long. But if you're gonna do multiple endings, it has to be well conceived. You cannot be tacking them on until the end of games where it's like, you know what this could really do with multiple endings, and you're just tacking it on right at the end. Like, what the fuck?
It's like people are reading the back of the box, and it literally says multiple endings on the back of the box. And if it doesn't say that, they're just like, well, fuck this game. Like, that isn't happening, game developers.
No,
people aren't just actively looking for games that have multiple endings and just saying fuck off to the rest of them.
People love a well-constructed narrative, especially in today's games. Just stop tacking... If you're going to do a multiple ending, even if one of them's shit, one of them has to be fucking great. Like,
yeah.
I feel like just don't be lazy. Why do lazy endings? I don't want to see a fucking short little CGI thing. Don't want to see some tacked on multiple ending bullshit. I don't want to see a game completely fall apart in the third act and have the most bizarre plot of all time. I don't want to have loads of boring missions at the end of a game where it's reached a climax and then I've sort of got half continue playing some bullshit afterwards. No, it's not fun. Make fun games with fun endings that are fucking cool. Don't make shit.
So what we're saying at the end of the day is all we really want are great games
with great endings.